All right, look at this. This is a new day. It's a new day the Lord has made. And we're coming to you live streaming straight from where we're streaming from. I know that you're having a good day. Hopefully, it's a good Mother's Day for many of you out there. And today we're talking about a Christian manner of justice. It's a good thing, I think, to actually begin to understand what God intended, what God allowed, what God permitted, what God purposed. Deuteronomy 24, we'll jump straight in, and it starts at 24, verse 14. Thou shalt not oppress an hired servant that is poor and needy, whether he be of thy brethren or of thy strangers that are in the land which within thy gates. This day thou shalt give him his hire, neither shalt thou sun go down upon it, for he is poor, and setteth his heart upon it, lest he cry against thee unto the Lord, and he be sin unto thee. The fathers shall not be put to death for the children, neither shall the children be put to death for the fathers. Every man shall be put to death for his own sin. Thou shalt not pervert the judgment of the stranger, nor the fatherless, nor take a widow's raiment to pledge. For thou shalt remember that thou hast or wast a bondman in Egypt, and the Lord thy God redeemed thee hence. Therefore, I command thee to do this thing. Listen, so let's just cut to the chase. I think we want to really focus on the fact that it's important for us to remember. If we were to talk about this, is remember to remember. Sometimes we can forget other things we've been through. Not so much where we come from, but what we've been through. And it helps give context to someone's own place in life. If you know you've gotten past the point where you don't have to worry about whether or not your money's funny, and your change is strange, and there's blessings from God. But there are still people who still once in a while you can't bounce a check because many people don't write checks anymore. But they figure out how to float things. They figure out how to make Bitcoin, make bits out of coin. How about that? And you know, at the end of the day, it's still a struggle for some. And it's calling others to say, hey, if you're going to truly be called Christ-like or even follow after God's own heart, here's a desire. Is that God would have you to remember where you came from, to remember what you came out of. Not that you might go back there, but that you might have compassion on others. Even verse 19 says, when thou cuttest down thine harvest in the day of the field, and hast forgot the sheaf in the field, thou shalt not go again to fetch it. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow, and that the Lord thy God may bless thee in all the work of thine hands. I think it's probably really good just to highlight that in blue, to know that God's saying, hey, you should have a scheduled plan, even if you just drop something in the field. Maybe could you walk throughout the day and throughout time when you go throughout your week and purposely bless somebody. Give them $10, $20. Give them something, even maybe put in your budget, just a purpose in your heart to bless somebody for that week. This is essentially what he's saying. Some people think we got to get everything out of the field. God is saying specifically, hey, leave something behind for those who are in need. And when thou beatest thine olive tree, thou shalt not go over the boughs again. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow. There's an intent here for those who are in need to be fulfilled by your overflow. So your overflow should become someone's ability to overcome. It's important because there are those, I don't know, maybe some of you out there now, you've benefited from someone's overflow. And the thought is, do you remember it? When thou beatest thine olive tree, right? And olive, we know what it stands for, and in many instances we use it for peace, but in order for you to get olive oil, it has to be a pressing. So if you've been through a pressing, the idea is that when you've gone through the pressing, there should be some oil, there should be some residue, right? There should be something left on your life from the pressing, but still enough for you to have enough oil to give to someone, to help someone out. Not your oil, right? You can't give your oil away, right? We know that. Okay, context for the super saints out there. All right, so here we go. When thou gatherest the grapes of thy vineyard, thou shalt not glean it afterwards. It shall be for the stranger, and for the fatherless, and for the widow. Again, we recite, we understand. There is a need in this particular text that shows that there is expectation from God that we be giving, that we be ready to move and let Him have His way in our lives. So, I think I'm going to stop there, but I did want to get this off because, times are swiftly changing, and maybe some people have forgotten that these things exist in Scripture and text in the Old Testament. For some of you who may not find it easy to abide by the New Testament because you don't, but it's there. It's there. How about that? It's in the text, and you can't escape it. It's a good example. Now, this is in the book of Deuteronomy, and for those of you who are unaware, Deuteronomy, it's like a second reading of the laws of God, right? The commandments of our Father. In other words, Moses is causing the new generation to remember, right? To remember what you need to remember. There's old saying out there, I believe it was, don't never forget what you're supposed to remember. And please always remember, never forget. I think that was Snyder, right? I don't know how many of you have watched that. So please always remember, never forget. And that was a good sitcom. But anyway, just remembering that this is the thing. Deuteronomy is a recite. It's giving the new generation an opportunity to catch up with what those who came before them did. So stay on point. Stay targeted. Stay looking forward. Stay upward bound. And I know some of you say it's not fair. It's not about what's fair. It's what's right. Right, and this is righteous. You say, well, I cannot just keep what I have. Well, God gave it to you to be a blessing. He did. He gave it to you. Matter of fact, I can prove it to you. I'll tell you what. I'm going to prove it to you real quick, and then we're going to get out of here. We're going to go to Deuteronomy 8 and 18, right? Deuteronomy 8 and 18. And for those of you who are eager, go ahead and jog on over there to Deuteronomy 8 and 18. And what will you find, Deuteronomy 8 18? You must remember the Lord. Oh, there's that word again. Remember. Remember. You must remember the Lord your God. For it is He who gives you what? The ability to get well. If you do this, He will confirm His covenant that He made an oath to your ancestors, even as He has to this day. So we're still in Deuteronomy. And listen, here's a point. It's a covenant-keeping power, right? It's a covenant-keeping power. In other words, you get it? It should be a blessing that you keep the covenant. And the covenant means that you continue to bless others, as well as your families and those that are around and about you. Now, hold on. Now, if you forget the Lord your God at all and follow other gods, worshiping and prostrating yourself before them, I testify to you today that you will surely be annihilated. All right, listen, just like the nations the Lord is about to destroy from your sight, so He will do to you because you would not obey Him. There's a blessing in obedience, right? And I think we need to understand. So what do you mean? At the end of the day, I don't know, maybe you have a house, maybe you have a car, maybe you have a cell phone, right? And typically if you have a house, a car, a cell phone, there's a certain way you want things done. If somebody were to hold your phone, definitely drive your car and live in your house. Now, some of you may be a little squeamish about declaring what should be true or setting a level of expectation when living in your house. But one thing's for certain, this thing I know for true. When it comes to your cell phone, you're probably a little bit more peculiar. And if it's yours, it's yours. You have the right to make decisions about those things in your life. Well, guess what? This world and all there is in belongs to God. All of it. So that means that basically He gets to make the rules. And what does that mean? Well, there's a reason it's called righteousness, because if it's done right, things come out right. And in God's kingdom, if you do it right, you prosper. There is a prosperity in that, right? And I thank God for the prosperity of His word, that it brings life. The entrance of His word brings life. So we're going to believe Him for that on today, and that He continues to bless you and your family. That being said, today, this is the first of many, but we just want to move forward and say, this is for your life and your legacy. Till next time.